What's up, Nerfers, and welcome to the big test that a lot of you have been asking for. Two very different Nerf darts in two very similar packages. We are of course comparing Sabre Tournament Darts against Dart Zone Nitroshot today. Which one has superior accuracy? Well, if we trust everything companies tell us, Dart Zone actually says #1 for accuracy right on the box there. Although I guess you guys have clicked on this video to see some real world testing, so I guess I gotta keep filming today. I'm of course doing some further testing with the Akasha SBCAR Nerf rifling, the best Nerf rifling currently available anywhere in the world. You can get a 3D printed version of this from Rex at the link down below to his Instagram, or you can wait for the CNC metal version that Sabre are producing, which I'll link for a pre-order it out of Darts as well. In my last couple of videos, we've shot a 50-meter spread about the size of a human torso with this thing. We also shot a 12-centimeter, I think it was, spread from 30 meters. But that was all with Sabre darts. So it's time to see today whether Dart Zone can keep up. Now, because I have it, of course I am going to use my best blaster today for the testing. Got the Sabre Ultima, which is a $2,000 fully CNC metal blaster. But if you have any other blaster that shoots around the same FPS as this, you should get very similar accuracy out of the Akasha, as a lot of other reviewers have shown with like Worker Harriers, Kunluns, even something 3D printed for about $100. If it's shooting this high in FPS, should get very similar accuracy to what I get today. But before we get to that testing, let's talk a bit more about the darts, because they are quite different. Now, the first major physical difference is the weight of the darts. Dart Zone Nitroshot here are only 1 gram each, so they're a standard weight, while Sabre darts are 1.3 grams or 30% heavier. What that means in practice is Sabre darts will tend to go a bit further, even though they will have a lower velocity out of the muzzle. So if chronograph numbers are all you care about to showing off to people online, Nitroshot will shoot faster. If you actually play Nerf games and want your darts to go further and hit people further away, the Sabre darts will do that naturally. Another big physical difference is the shape of the darts. So the Dart Zone Nitroshot have bamboo rings around them. This helps reduce friction in a barrel and give you even higher FPS again than a standard dart. Sabre darts do not have the bamboo rings, and that is actually a benefit for the Sabre darts, because when you're firing through any kind of rifling, especially a bearing type rifling that we're using today, the bamboo rings can actually add inconsistencies as they interact with the bearing in kind of random ways. So we might see that today, or they could have very similar accuracy. That's to be determined in a minute. Now, to avoid any kind of legal issues from Nintendo, Dart Zone have an inverted Triforce on there. Not quite Legend of Zelda material on the tip. Sabre darts, however, do not have any hole in the tip. They have a little letter T on the side to indicate tournament darts. Compared to other 1 gram darts as well, Dart Zone do tend to have a little bit of a shorter range, because that Triforce does add a little bit of drag as it flies through the air. In terms of durability of the tip staying on the foam, there's a very similar, almost identical levels of strength there. It takes a fuck ton of effort to pull these tips off of the foam. That actually felt exactly the same for both of those there. So you get multiple uses out of these darts. If you pick them up and they're not covered in dirt, you can obviously reuse them very easily. Now, another major difference is where you can actually obtain these. Dart Zone Nitroshot, despite being made in China, are only sold in the USA. So I had to jump on Amazon and pay $100 for 400 of these, making them 16 US cents per dart. If you do live in the USA though, you can get them for 10 cents a dart. Sabre Tournament Darts, however, are sold all around the world by multiple hobby stores such as Out of Darts in the USA, All the Darts in the UK, Sabre obviously in Singapore, Foamwork Adelaide here in Australia, and a bunch of others, which I'll link down below. These come out slightly more, so 1 cent extra per dart at 11 cents a dart. And that also doesn't change whether I buy them from Out of Darts or Foamwork. They all seem to have them around the exact same price. Anyway, I will pop links to both of these down below, so check those out. Particularly the Out of Darts link for these will give me a commission, so it helps you support my channel. Anyway, with the physical differences compared and explained, let's go find out what the actual differences are when you're shooting them out of your blaster. What's up, Nerfers, and welcome to Brad's physics class, where today we're going to figure out whether a 1 gram dart goes faster or one that weighs 1.3. I want you to put your guesses down below. No cheating, no checking other people's answers, and let's find out with the 1 gram first. With the Akasha on, 354 with the Dart Zone Nitroshot, 350, 355, 355, 350, 351, finally a different number, 353, 353, 347, a little bit lower this time, 354, 354, 358, a bit higher, 353, 351, 355. That's all 15 shots. Now you've still got time to put your guess in of whether you think the heavier dart will go faster, slower, or the same. 301, of course, it goes slower. 306, 304, 306, 300, 303, 306, 306, 305, 309, 302, 307, 304, 303, 300, and that's all 15 shots. Did you guess it correctly? I hope you did, because this will be on your final grade. Okay class, the lighter 1 gram Nitroshot darts averaged 352 feet per second with a standard deviation of 2.69. Can I get a nice from the cool kids in the back row, please? As expected, Sabre darts being 30% heavier at 1.3 grams were slower out the barrel, averaging 304. And kids, block your ears for a second here, because what the actual fuck just happened with the standard deviations? I've never seen them this close before. Nitroshot, remember, shot 2.69. Sabre darts just shot 2.64. This is gonna be a close one. It's gonna be a showdown for the history books. Keeping that difference in velocity of 50 FPS faster for the Nitroshots in mind, it's time now for our second lesson. Okay class, for science lesson number 2 today, we're heading out to the road to see which of these goes further. Will it be the 1 gram or the heavier, 30% heavier, 1.3 gram? Put your guesses in the comments down below. Now for transparency, I'll be aiming at a 45-degree angle for the maximum range, and I'm using a laser rangefinder to tell us the distances when I find all of the darts. Oh! Did I leave a magazine out here the other week? That must have been when I was shooting Novrich from 100 meters away, which was with the Sabre darts, so I'm aware that they can go 100 meters. Will the Dart Zone Nitroshot surpass that, equal that, or fall short? Let's find out. That's all the shots, let's go find them. Okay, I have managed to locate at least the green ones on the way past to put the blaster away. I did see some of these. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're standing right in the middle of the grouping. They went 82 meters, which is very impressive for a 1 gram dart. I imagine the Sabre darts did go further. Well, that's an old one from when I shot Novrich the other week. Oh, here is a fresh grouping. Setting in the middle of this. 105 meters. So the heavier darts did go about, what is that, 22, 23 meters further. And because I can, let's check the durability of these darts while I walk to do the accuracy test. Still incredibly strong after being fired 300 feet per second. And these ones, oh, a little bit weaker. All right, do another one. Still feels a little bit weaker than the Sabre dart did. That is interesting. Yeah, okay, I changed my answer. The Dart Zone darts seem to be glued a little less strong than the Sabre darts. For our third physics lesson of the day, we're going to see which one is more accurate from 30 meters away. The 1 gram Dart Zone Nitroshot or the Sabre 1.3 gram tournament dart. Freedom units are not the language of science, but I have put a translation down there for those who require it. And we will be beginning with the 1 gram Nitroshot today. Let's see how it does. And for reference, I'm aiming at the center of the brand new cross on the target. A little low and to the right there. Or pretty much in the center. Back over to the low right. A pretty tight grouping from a 1 gram dart. These are absolutely a contender for the tournament darts. You can see it's going to be a very close showdown today. I just got to say though, the Akasha SBCAR is putting in so much work. Last time I imported some Nitroshot darts, they were nowhere near close to what this accuracy is today. You can see we have a slight breeze in the trees as well, which is not helping the lighter of the two darts. But that's all 15 shots of those. 30% heavier, and see how it does. A beautiful hit. It's almost like I zeroed this for the tournament darts back when Novrich was here the other week. Let's head inside and summarize the accuracy results for today, and then we'll give you an overview of what the class has learned.
Okay, so first of all, I present the 30-meter Sabre Dart spread. With today's wind and relatively high humidity potentially playing a part here, Sabre Dart shot a 15-centimeter spread, or 5.9 inches, a number most guys would say is worth bragging about. But holy shit, guys, we have just found, finally, a dart that can stand toe-to-toe with Sabre Darts for accuracy. Because Nitroshot scored a 16 centimeter spread. While that is a teeny tiny bit larger, 6.3 inches versus 5.9, for all intents and purposes, I don't think many people could tell the difference without a ruler and maybe a magnifying glass. Guys get away with it all the time after all. But on that bombshell of accuracy, let's recap all the other metrics that matter to try to determine an actual winner here. For availability, Dart Zone are only sold in North America and cost 10 cents per shot. Bump that up to 16 cents if you live anywhere else in the world. Sabre Tournament Darts are not only sold in the USA, but they're sold in the UK, Singapore, Malaysia, Netherlands, Taiwan, and Australia, with Sabre always actively trying to expand their availability elsewhere in the world as well. Sabre Darts also only cost 1 cent more, which, similar to the accuracy, is essentially identical. Durability I found slightly stronger on the Sabre Darts, especially after being fired once. Dart Zone's tips just felt a little bit easier to pull off after that range test. They would of course be reusable many times over though. It's far easier to pull a tip off than for it to come off from firing it. The biggest difference by far though has to be the range they can achieve due to the weight difference. Dart Zone Nitroshot achieved 82 meters of range, while Sabre Darts made it to 105. That's 269 feet for Nitroshot, another nice, and 344 feet for Sabre, with a difference of 23 meters or 75 feet in favor of Sabre. Now, this range test was also done favoring Nitroshot because I allowed them to shoot 50 feet per second higher. Most Nerf groups around the world have a velocity limit you need to stay under. So in those conditions, Nitroshot would shoot even shorter max range than Sabre Darts do. So just imagine during that range test if I had to put a weaker spring in just for the Nitroshot darts, that might help you picture what would actually happen in real life. But what if you have no FPS limit? What about the travel time to the target? That was a very interesting result too. At 30 meters or 100 feet, both darts were hitting the target at almost the exact same time. It's only when I slowed it down to 12.5% speed that I even saw a difference, and the Sabre Darts were impacting a near imperceptible amount sooner than the Nitroshot darts, meaning even at a relatively close range of 30 meters, Nitroshot darts have slowed down far more than Sabre Darts have. You'd have to be at utter point-blank ranges for Nitroshot to have the edge in terms of velocity, and you'd have to have no cap either to your FPS limit. So in the end, the only real differences I could tell between Sabre Darts and Nitroshot are firstly whether you can even get your hands on them, and the fact Sabre Darts keep their velocity longer and go way further while having a little bit better durability. Find the one link to Nitroshot darts down below, and many links to Sabre Darts from all around the world. I'll also include links to everything else I used to make this testing video. Don't forget to give it a like, comment, subscribe, and all of that. Here's 2 other videos you might enjoy, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.